Okay, so let me run you through very quickly what's going to happen. So we have 9 teams that are going to pitch for 3 minutes each. And so we're going to go through the 3 categories, and we have 3 different juries for each category. And they're going to have 3 minutes to ask their questions to the different finalists. After that, they're going to convene, and then we're going to announce our winners. So with no more ado, let's jump into the first pitches and the first category. We're going to start off with Internet of Things.
So SAP has different approaches to collaborate with startups. We, as SAP IoT Startup Accelerator, do not invest in startups. We do not talk. We build something with an IoT-related startup for our customer.
OK, so it's time to get our jury. Our first member, Ignaz Schatz, who you just saw in the video, Startup Engagement Manager, SAP, IoT Startup Accelerators. Hi, Ignaz. So you were actually already part of the Innovators Pitch last year. Why did you come back this time?
So last year, 2 of the winners of the Innovators Pitch actually joined SAP IoT Startup Accelerator. We went all together on a journey where we learned how we can support each other and finally build something valuable for our customer. So Synfio, for example, is building an integration between Synfio Estimate Time of Arrival services to SAP Transportation Management. And if this works out for Synfio and one of our customers, a real customer where we are building something, then we can scale to a base of 200 further customers who are using SAP Transportation Management. And this makes me really, really excited to be part of it. I would like to thank you, Bitkom, for organizing all this, for the great crowd that is here. I'm happy to be part of it.
Thank you so much, Ignaz. Great to have you back.
Yes.
So take a seat, and we're going to announce the rest of our jury members. Dr. Severin Todt, Head of IT Engineering and Shop Floor Solutions Lufthansa Technik. Applause, please. Then we have Videsha Böckle, partner at Signals Venture Capital. And Stefan Dörner, Editor-in-Chief at T3N. OK, so as a quick reminder, we have 3 minutes pitch per startup. And then after each one, you're going to have 3 minutes to ask your questions. It's very short, I know, but we're going to keep it snappy. OK, so it's ready to jump in with our first startup. Now, we've heard a lot about logistics today already. Logistic networks are very complex. And at the same time, we're having more and more seas of data on basically everything. So EverTracker is actually trying to use the power of AI to make sense of all this data to make logistics more efficient. So let's please give a very warm welcome to Mark Schmidt, co-founder and CEO of EverTracker.
Hi, my name is Mark. I'm from EverTracker. I'm the co-founder. We identified that logistics has a huge problem. That's logistics of today, highly inefficient. This will be the logistics of the future, completely different. That's urban logistics. It's pretty much the same. Everyone is coming from the outside, pushing products into the city. That's what happened tomorrow. Products are coming during the night. During the day, they're getting distributed flexibly. To solve this problem, we believe 2014 that this is what logistics looks like. It's fully intransparent, nothing happens. So we created a platform that is basically a simple track and trace platform by providing GPS devices and an IoT platform. But we understood that we are not adding enough value to our clients to have a scalable solution. So what we did, we identified problems of our clients. I was too long in a hub as a parcel or letter. Or I missed a ferry, so that's the problem. That's what we pointed out 2016. 2017, we wanted, how we sorted it out is basically pointing out the problem, it's your fault. But we also understood that we need to add even more value to logistics. We need to make it predictable. As many clients didn't really know how the logistics processes really worked, we developed a machine learning platform that identifies recurrent tours, recurrent hubs. So we identified hubs during the journey. We identified stops and tours for last mile distribution, and we brought control over logistics processes to supply chain processes and logistics processes. So we became experts in pattern recognition, like common delivery routes, identifying any other things, problematic crossroads, problematic streets, hubs, any kind that you can imagine that is happening within logistics is what our platform is analyzing today. What they are doing with this, they do asset management, so we can tell them when it will come back. We can tell that a hub is not efficient. We can tell that this asset is doing something that it's not allowed to do. We prepare unloads. We tell them when they have to leave in order to be somewhere on time. We bring trucks into the right order, or we identify problems on the tour. How we do this is some achievements our clients achieved over the years. This is basically what's next. We are launching a supply chain manager next year and a logistics manager. What makes us different? There are companies that offer ETAs and track and trace. We go deep into logistics and supply chain problems. It's all about the team. So these are the great founders. Me, that is a little bit crazy, a location and process expert, and the mastermind. This is somebody that advises us that you should know if you work for logistics. These are corporates that are supporting us, are the greatest companies. These are clients that will work or already work for us. And I have last good advice, you should party tonight. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mark. That was very interesting. So now it's time for our jury. Do you have any questions?
Thank you so much for the presentation. Can you tell us a little bit more about how the data collection works in your product? That you talked about the machine learning algorithm. Where does the data come from?
So we have three ways of collecting data. Either we use our GPS sensors, that's how we started. So we still have GPS sensors that we're providing to clients. They can integrate any other data that's already available from supply chains. We are getting scans from RFID and manual scans. Or we already partner with other IoT companies like TrackerSense or Cetum that is providing the data to our platform, and they are already implemented at our clients' space, premise, whatever.
Is any of that proprietary?
Sorry?
Is any of that proprietary to you?
What? Sorry.
Proprietary. Does it just belong to you, or is it also available for other users and other platforms?
You mean our platform?
No, I mean the data. Is the data? No, is it proprietary, or is it?
No, that's our data. So we will make sure that we keep the data and not providing. We are providing answers and not the data.
Any other questions? Yes.
Yeah, probably it was already been answered. You say that you can integrate any GPS tracking devices, any devices capable of delivering position and stuff, and velocity or something? Or do I depend on your special EverTracker GPS sensor?
Potentially, you could integrate any sensor. You have to follow some rules. So we have not the eierlegende Wollmilchsau that you can come with your sensor and you can integrate it. So that's why we are partnering with other companies, or companies like when we are working on the supply chain topic, our client makes sure that the data that is flowing into our system follows the rules that we have. So it's basically on you. If you're an IoT provider, you need to make sure that we can interpret the data. We're not really taking care of this. But the concept is you can connect. That's our API. If you follow these rules, you can give us the data.
So do you also have an API or integration concept for integrating third parties?
Yes, so we have APIs on both sides, basically. You can integrate data into our system, And then we are providing answers mainly through APIs, so ETAs or to identify the stops and the problems along the tour. We are mainly providing through an API, as many companies. We have a bus company, for example, they already have a control center, so it makes no sense to develop a new front end.
Let's take one more question. Ignaz, maybe?
Mark, thank you for the presentation. Why did you choose to build a sensor in the beginning? What value does the sensor bring now?
It's a long answer to a short question, because basically we didn't really know anything about logistics. We had a personal problem, and we thought we solved the problem by using GPS sensors and providing transparency to the client. And in this case, we were fully naive because we thought we can come with a solution, an IoT solution, and everyone is buying it because everyone talked about it. So that's the short answer. And we had to pivot over 3 years to what we offer today. That's why we still have the sensors, but it's not our main business model anymore.
Okay, so I think that'll be the questions for now. You'll get to ask more questions in the next round. Thank you, Mark.
I just wanted to thank you also the team of the Innovators Pitch, because they made it possible that we can pitch today, not only because we were invited to the pitch, but I have to leave now to pick up my kids from school in Hamburg, so I have to hurry. And they put me as the first speaker, so I want you to applaud to everyone in the team for this great job. That's something I wanted to say.
Thank you, Mark, for making it.
You're very calm. You know, so.
Thank you, Mark, and have a good ride home then. So it's time for our second candidate. We're going to go into the world of online shopping and delivery, which is truly exploding. Today, 25% of people in the world use e-commerce, and an additional 50% don't use it yet, but think they will in the near future. So Blick, our next candidate, they see an opportunity here to bring IoT to delivery. And they're quite ambitious with this, because they claim they would like to become the new standard of logistics data. I'm curious to see how that's going to work. A big round of applause, please, for Philipp Eller, co-founder and COO of Blick. Here's the
Hello, everybody. My name is Philipp. I'm from Blick, and we offer a digital twin for the entire industrial supply chain. You have to imagine that warehouse workers nowadays have to spend as much as 1/3 of their entire work time just manually scanning barcodes. This accounts to 100 years of wasted work in Germany alone per day. On top of that, industrial warehouses rely on barcode scans, because that's how they manage to locate and how to manage assets inside of their facilities. But still, 40% of all assets get misplaced because of human error or wrong processes. So this, in the end, leads to massive wasted hours of time. This leads to shipping delays, unhappy customers, and sometimes even to lost contracts for our customers. So that's why we came up with a solution to just easily attach a small sensor unit to any kind of load carrier inside of the facility that then is tracked in real time. And the entire generated data is then used to make precise analytics and predictions. So we can reduce barcode scans, we can reduce manual errors, and in the end provide all the data for process optimization. So our customers, we talk to them, like, what do you need, right? So they were telling us many different things, what they want to have, what they don't want to have. Basically, it's all about cost efficiency, it's about scalability and real-time tracking. On top of this, we also provide our customers a solution that runs for over 2 years on a single coin cell, and that enables you to track thousands of items at the same time. Our customers already confirmed us that they are planning to save up to 10 million euro per facility per year just with our solution. So our first entry market is the German automotive industry. We already have customers such as BMW, Volkswagen, MAN Trucks, and many others. And we generate the most valuable assets for those industrial companies, real-time data. As the single source of truth, we provide this data not only for customers, but also for their existing software landscape, such as SAP. So together, we then can offer a digital twin of everything that is happening in the entire supply chain. We're still looking for further customers and partners. So if you're interested in a new standard of logistics, please approach me after the pitch. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Philip. That was excellent. So, jury, what questions do you have? Maybe you want to start, Stefan.
Yes. You mentioned some big brands as your customers. Yes. My question is, do they really pay, or is this kind of an experiment for them and they try things out, or are they really actual paying customers? Mm-hmm.
So that's a very good point. So just to explain it to everybody, first, that's how we sell. We do a workshop first to actually see what the problem is, to get the right solution to our customers. Then we do a pilot project, and after that, we have permanent installations. So what I can tell you right now is that we already have a permanent installation at BMW. We plan to track 200 of those large mesh boxes you just seen in the presentation, and are outfitting further customers in the next weeks and months. So, yeah.
So is anyone actually paying you right now? Or?
Yes. Okay. We don't do projects without payment.
Thank you so much for the presentation. Can you tell me more about the team that is building this particular product and why you're the team to build it?
Mm-hmm. So we are based in Munich, which gives us the great advantage of being very close to lots of industrial companies like BMW, like other companies close to Stuttgart. On top of that, we are a very diverse team. We're like physicists, we have physics, then we have electrical engineers, and me as a business guy. On top, we have participated in different kind of accelerators already. One of the big ones is the Texas IoT accelerator. So we have a great network in Munich, but also in New York, which helps us greatly to actually get the product out to our customers just in time and however they want it.
How many people in your team at the moment?
Mm-hmm. Right now we are 11 people. Just now we're ramping up our hiring thanks to some investment, and we're looking forward to grow next year with a seed round.
Let's go for one more question. Yeah.
Philip, yes. The split sensor works indoors, as far as I understood. I've experienced that it can be problematic indoors to do location service or build location service due to this effect that is like a Faraday cage. Mm. How do you deal with it? Mm. How precise is your sensor?
Mm. That's a very good question. So as I mentioned before, there are different kinds of technologies our customers tried already. For example, ultra-wideband indoors, a great technology, but has hard times with like metal inside of the facility. So we have also problems with that, but not as much as ultra-wideband. Our location precision is right now around about 4.5 meters. This gives us an opportunity to track for process steps. And we track right now indoors, but with our technology we can also track outdoors. So we work together with the MAN truck company to have our system communicate out of the box with trucks all around the world, so they can then send up the data and give you a view of the entire supply chain.
Thank you so much, Philip.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your questions, and we'll see you later on stage in the next round. Thank you. There's been a lot of sessions today already about blockchain. And I've been following this space for quite a few years now, and it's been really interesting to see how from lots of big ideas and concepts, actually the first real applications that are working are starting to emerge. So one of these is a candidate here, and they're actually combining lots of different things, not only using blockchain, but combining that with AI and Internet of Things. So I'm very curious to hear more about the next candidate called Xane, and we're going to have Leif Lundbäck, the CEO, pitching right now. Give him a big round of applause.
Welcome, everybody. My name is Leif Lundbäck from Xane. We are an Oxford University spin-off, now located in Berlin. And what we do is actually combining these two technologies. We use mostly reinforcement learning to actually improve and actually insert dynamics into our blockchain network. And we use this blockchain network then to actually achieve distributed machine learning applications, which I will show you also in a second. So we actually also introduced basically a new consensus algorithm to actually make a blockchain also work in very dynamic circumstances, and also in circumstances where you have actually a low energy consumption, and where you actually have nodes going on and off all the time, for example, vehicle networks. And therefore, we invented practical or partial proof of kernel work. Now it's actually called practical. And what we do there is actually we use a whitelist, we use cryptographic partitioning, and then apply basically proof of work. And this cuts basically all the energy consumption by over 90%, so we can actually make it work in devices also. And in the kernel part, basically, what we do is actually to also insert a SASA engine, which is our machine learning part, and it uses basically reinforcement learning to actually measure the blockchain environment itself, and then looping around by actually saying, okay, how do we actually need to change our parameters in the network to make it also dynamic to certain flows. For example, at 12 a.m., most cars are not on in the network, so of course the network needs to react to that. But the most important part is what we do actually with this network, and this is distributed machine learning. So normally for machine learning you need, of course, a lot of data. And to actually make this work and to actually get feasible input also and feasible output of this machine learning applications, you need all to collect basically all the data from all your customers, for example, or all your machines. But this, of course, is not GDPR compliant and also hurts a lot of privacy rights. So what we do is that we actually have our distributed machine learning running in the different machines, and to collect basically the variances through a secure channel and a secure and actually dynamics channel, which is our blockchain network, to actually then also get all this learning, basically all the variances and the adjustments of these variances back to the machines. So yeah, our largest customers are Porsche, basically. And yeah, thanks very much.
Thank you so much, Leif. I hope the jury understood more of the technical details than I did.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
This was a lot of information. Thanks for the presentation. My first question is, this blockchain, is it a public blockchain? So can anyone use it? Or is it a private blockchain which you have to register to use it?
Well, actually, it's a public blockchain in a sense that you need to register. So, I mean, for example, when it's, for example, for the vehicle customers, when it's implemented in a car, the only thing that restricts you from using it is buying this car, for example. But of course, there are also other solutions which are more in the supply chain area, where it's a consortial solution. But so it depends on, but it can be public.
Thank you for the presentation. I enjoyed a lot of the theoretical side of the business. You didn't get to the application side, so can you explain a little bit more about how you work with your clients and use this in real life?
Yeah, so I mean, working with the clients is quite similar, like Blick, where we also actually first see what is actually the use case, what is actually hurting them, and I mean, we are very specialized towards really dynamic networks and actual applications. So of course, if you have just a normal solution or normal supply chain solution, maybe it doesn't make sense to use us. But when it comes to devices and machine learning, because we are more an AI company than a blockchain company, then this is really where we come into play. And also when, for example, restrictions from GDPR, I mean, for example, in autonomous driving are actually kicking in, or in turbine solutions and so, I mean, then basically you need some solution to actually distribute this learning and not to collect all the data, and this is where we need a secure channel for that.
Yeah, you said that it's a public or semi-public framework that I have to register in, and one key success factor for blockchain is that I have a significant amount of nodes available in the network. If it's not really public network, how do you ensure that we always have enough reliable nodes?
Yeah, so we have also an optimization framework to actually say what is actually the number of nodes that you need for a certain security level. And of course, you do need quite a lot of nodes here. So when you think about consortial solutions, then of course, the different consortial partners also do need quite a lot of nodes here, which they own themselves. But when it comes, for example, to vehicle networks, then of course, like an additional vehicle or an additional device, for example, is one additional node. So also there you have quite a significant number of nodes. And when you compare to Bitcoin, for example, you have there actually not a distributed solution anymore. You have actually a solution where very large nodes are actually in the hands of only a few people. And so actually in this solution, what we have with a cryptographic sortition, we actually prevent this, this case of having very powerful nodes, because they actually need to be elected basically to take part in the proof of work race. And we also still use proof of work here, because this is the only method known that is actually completely random. All the other methods, for example, PBFT and so, would not work for such dynamic networks, and also they are easily attackable.
Thank you so much, Leif. We're going to have to leave it at this for now.
Of course.
Thank you so much to this jury. We're going to go to our next category. So a big applause for everyone, please.
That was my transcription mistake.
So next up is travel and tourism, and we're going to kick off with another introductory video. Yes. Ich glaube, die haben es vergessen.
Very happy to join the Innovators Pitch, because we've seen it grow over the last couple of years to be an internationally very rewarded and exciting event for startups and competition for startups. But we always felt there was one missing category, which is the travel and tourism category, and that's actually the reason why we joined. And we are very excited to see this year what's happening, to see a lot of creative ideas and great new stuff happening around the idea of authentic travel, especially. And so we're really looking forward to join this year.
Okay, so let's get our jury on stage, starting off with Alexander Schwartz, General Manager of Germany, Austria, Switzerland for Airbnb. Applause, please.
Hello, hello.
Hi, Alex. Great to have you here. Tell us more about what you're excited for the pitch and why Airbnb wants to be part of it.
Absolutely. Thanks very much for having us. We're very excited to be part of the show. As I mentioned in this video, we've seen the Hub conference grow over the last couple of years and become a really important conference, including the Innovators Pitch. And yeah, we've always been wondering, like, travel and tourism is one of the fastest growing categories, and it's already the 10th biggest category by GDP. So if you look at the example of air travel alone, it's doubled since 2000, and it's expected to be the fastest growing category over the next decade. And so we're really looking, like the colleagues in the jury and we at Airbnb are really looking forward to see the next generation changing the face of travel, to make it more meaningful, to make it more interesting for travelers and connecting travelers to the best locations. So I'm really excited to see things happening now.
Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Take a seat. So, our other jury members are Michael Hoffman, Innovation Partner at Visa. Colin Hanna, Associate Balderton Capital. And Karsten Lem, Senior Editor from Wired. So welcome. As a reminder, we're going to have 3 minutes of pitch for each startup, and you're going to have 3 minutes to ask questions. So we might have to take turns with asking the questions. So let's jump in with our first candidate from this category. So I've actually been living in Paris for the last few years, and when I get there and I want to buy a ticket, like one of those tickets of 10, I actually still get 10 individual little tickets in a city where actually you have lots of great transport apps. And it's quite funny, because then I go to Munich, and then I need a Streifenkarte, and then I come to Berlin, and then I get also 4 individual tickets. And I must say, it's quite a chaos of many different paper tickets, and it doesn't really seem very digital age. So it seems like there's a startup that's actually trying to solve this problem, and I would really be looking forward to having the solution of not actually needing all these paper tickets anymore. So let's hear more from Motion Tag, Stefan Lepla, the CEO, who's going to tell us about this problem.
All right. Hey, everybody. My name is Stefan. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Motion Tech, and we make traveling easier for all of us. Let me jump in directly on how we do that. Oh, that was too fast. Sorry. Okay, video doesn't work, so I have to explain it in person. So you probably have been in the situation where you're standing in line at the ticket machine, you maybe don't know what's the correct ticket for the day, and people are queuing up, the train is already arriving, you maybe don't have cash with you, so it's a very, very stressful situation. And we are solving that by a great product that we call Ticket Easy, which you normally would have seen in the video, and it's a one-click solution for the public transport sector. So you have an app where you simply say, okay, I want to start from here. The app automatically detects which modes of transport you have used, and at the end of the day, checks you out automatically and charges you always the best price for what you have used. And this is, of course, great for us who are using these transport services, because we don't have to care about this confusing tariff zones anymore, etc. And it, at the same time, solves a lot of problems on the operator side, who are our customers. Because right now, with selling tickets, they have a huge problem because it's super expensive. Up to 50% of every euro collected is overhead costs. And at the same time, these guys don't actually have any clue of how their users or customers travel from day to day, because they don't have the actual data. And under the bottom line, this is a pretty inefficient process. And with our system, we provide this easy solution to use the public transport service and therefore bring new customers to the public transport system. And at the same time, our system provides anonymized data to give optimization potentials for the overall efficiency of the network and the operation service. We are doing that by leveraging smartphone sensors, so a bunch of different sensors that we are using. And the good thing is, since it's only solely based on the smartphone of the user, you don't have to apply additional infrastructure like gates, like NFC, like beacon technology, for example. And it works like the Oyster card in London, but without investing millions into additional infrastructure. By this, we are using deep learning to provide this data and also give a holistic picture of how the mobility works on a daily basis. Yeah, our customers love that solution because they don't have to invest in additional infrastructure. We are working with operators like Deutsche Bahn. Swiss Rail are using our solution since 1.5 years. And yeah, we are a great team and backed by industry experts like people from TUI, Amadeus IT, etc. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Stefan. So, jury, what do you think? Who wants to kick off? Alexander.
Thanks very much, Stefan. Our first question would be, there are a couple of mobility apps out there. What makes you different?
We are not the 66th mobility app on your phone. We are a B2B provider, so we integrate our solution in already existing applications which are on the market. So we are kind of an aggregator platform, under this all of these mobility apps which are out there.
Thanks very much.
Welcome.
As an aggregator, you also aggregate payments, if I understand it correctly, for the different parts of this multi-model mobility trip. Payments, I believe, as far as I've heard, is highly regulated and therefore highly complex. Have you reviewed your position towards regulation? And if yes, what's your position and how do you respond to it?
In the first place, we're not starting with dealing with the payment itself because we're integrating, for example, in like an app which is already there. And if you have already a digital distribution on that, so we are kind of plugging into the payment methods which are there already. And so therefore, it's not our kind of sweet spot where we are starting at the moment.
So how many partners do you have for how many cities? Just Germany, or is it Europe-wide already? And also, how many ways to pay can you offer me to facilitate this trip as easily as possible?
Yeah. We are right now piloting with the ticketing solution in Germany with a big national operator and in Switzerland. So we are plugging in to their solution, which already provides different payment methods. But since the system is solely based on software and on sensors, it's pretty easy to scale on a global market, and we are ramping up new projects in Asia and in the Arabic world by the beginning of next year.
Stefan, a really interesting problem you're tackling. One of our companies is a company called Citymapper, which is one of these sort of B2C mobility apps that you referred to. If you were standing in front of the Citymapper CEO today and trying to convince him of your value proposition, how would you articulate that to him?
I would say, hey, I got the great solution. You have a beautiful interface to the end customer, and we have the right solution to integrate seamlessly within your already existing system to give your end customers always the best price without having the headache of thinking of different tariff zones.
And why isn't that something they can do themselves?
Because they are focusing on the B2C side and on information in the first place, and we are kind of focusing on data, mobility behavior, and ticketing issues, and so therefore it's, I think, a very synergetic way of doing it. So I would be very happy to get an introduction.
Thank you so much. Unfortunately, we don't have time for more questions.
All right.
But another nice round of applause. Thank you, Stefan.
Thanks. Thank you.
We're living in an increasingly instantaneous world, and we're getting very used to getting reactions, responses in real time, and consumers are also expecting that from the services they use. So how should a company actually manage to provide the customer support that meets these expectations? The next candidate is trying to find a solution to this that will make it easy for anyone to have real-time customer support, not with humans. Please give a big applause to Christoph Lutz, Managing Director from Twyla.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to make your airlines conversational. Your favorite airlines that are always on time, never cancel flights, and always have information at your fingertip will now in future be conversational. You've heard a lot about artificial intelligence and machine learning, how that will change your interactions with companies in the future. This is reality. The majority of the work to leverage true machine learning, true AI, and natural language processing happens below the water, below the surface. It's about data, content, integrations. How do you leverage these systems to truly make artificial intelligence work? Now, luckily enough, we're building on a very, very rich heritage of robots that we've been interacting with. It goes back as far as 1968, HAL 9000 in Space Odyssey. It goes further, now very topical, 1982 in Blade Runner. And finally, who can forget, personally my favorite, Arnie in Terminator 1. Now, all these three bots have one thing in common. They're actually rather bad. They don't want to help you. Now, Twyla changes that. And we've been seeing how they've been changing that over time as well. 2009, when we're communicating over emojis in the film Luna, it goes that far that you even fall in love with bots in the film Her. And then we went full circle when bad bots turned good in Terminator 2. So enough of the cultural references. This is basically the solution that we offer. It's a middleware platform that integrates with various front-end systems, be it voice, text, through your app, where you can then leverage other systems to really rebook your flights, to check information, to cancel them, to get information about where your destination and what kind of restrictions are around that. How do you leverage the data, the integrations, all that information that's in the bottom of the iceberg, if you will? We've been working with a number of airlines now to basically leverage these solutions. And one of the examples is here with Cebu Pacific, which is an airline out of the Philippines, who are looking to make their airline truly conversational. So not only providing something here over a Facebook Messenger template, for example, they want to be voice activated and have automated assistance through various channels. Can be through their website and all different customer touch points that we have there. And what you saw on the last slide, it's that one central platform that integrates all front-end systems and integrates all back-end systems. So how do you do that? You leverage Twyla, and you have basically out-of-the-box integrations for the travel industry. You know you're working with legacy systems, which are very, very cumbersome to work with, and we basically provide that out of the box and simple for you to implement. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much. I could already see that you have a wide range of suppliers being integrated, like Amadeus, Sabre, and so on, rich data. How about the traveler adoption? Can you tell us something about how do travelers adopt to your product?
Well, it's about how actually the companies themselves position it as well, right? So if we're looking at the contact pages where companies normally have their hotlines or various forms to contact them, that's where they basically place their automated system through their website. It might pop up, or they connect with us on any line, any messenger, right? Line, Kik, Facebook Messenger. What we see, the adoption is quite high, especially in the travel space, where we've also been focusing and creating a lot of domain knowledge and expertise around these topics. We've been having rates or correct answers of about 95, 96% of intents which the system is recognizing, because that's what you want. There's nothing more frustrating to have like a question-answer solution with a chatbot and you don't get where you are. If that were to happen, we also integrated with things like Salesforce, where we hand over to a customer agent. So you kind of have you're hedging your position there, because you don't want to alienate the customer if he's not getting the answers that he wants.
How intelligent is your chatbot really? Can it handle the non-standard cases? Because in my experience, most of them, can do the usual back and forth, but they cannot really help you when you really need it.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to say that the people working on Twyla, the tech people, are much smarter than I am. So the chatbot is very, very smart. No, it's been a development over the last 2 years to obviously get the nuances in speech, right, to understand what we're actually working, what you want to understand. And focusing on something like travel has given us that, if you will, head start, right? So to give you an example from a different industry, if I tell you that my phone freezes when I boot it up, I don't want the chatbot to think that the phone is cold. Right? I wanted to know, in that context, freezing means it breaks. And of course, all this, the data, if you will, that we've been collecting for the travel industry makes our system that much smarter, because we're focusing, and the AI can reference basically these different data points to address those issues exactly.
Are you building your whole semantic analysis system and all your machine learning yourself, or are you using some off-the-shelf technology?
No, that's proprietary technology.
One more question? Yeah.
I'm wondering a little bit about market size. Do you know what the total budget that maybe the top 30 airlines in the world allocate to their customer service operations is?
So, I mean, I can tell you globally, last year was well over $300 billion if we're looking at the customer support side.
Just for airlines?
No, that's for all, if you're consumer brands. For airlines, that is a bit smaller. It was around $40 to $50 billion that we're spending on software, personnel, and looking at the whole support side of things, right? And of course, what we're looking to do is to address that cost and automate a lot of the queries. I mean, it's clear.
Thank you so much, Christoph.
Thank you very much.
We're going to go to our next candidate. So nowadays, if you want to go on a trip, you really have a lot of choices of platforms you can use to decide where to go. But most of them, they focus on the hotels, the restaurants, or the cities and the towns. But actually, most people, when they go on vacation, many in Germany at least, they really care about the beach, like the beach itself. That's where they want to go. So there's a startup that's going to be pitching now that's trying to sort of flip the logic of how you look for your travel and actually focus on the beach as the entry point. Please, let's give a big round of applause for Anton Werner, founder and managing partner from Beach Inspector.
Hi, I'm Anton, co-founder of beachinspector.com. 700 million people go on beach holidays every year. We people, we love beaches. Being on the beach makes us happy, and that's the reason why we go on beach holidays. And the tourism industry, they know that. So they're all playing with beach images to capitalize on our longings for beach experiences. But why does nobody, literally nobody, let us use the beach, our main motivation to actually go on beach holidays, as a criterion in our booking decision? The answer is simple. The entire industry has no meaningful information on beaches. And we at Beach Inspect, we close this information gap, and we have built a system to digitalize beaches in a highly standardized and also scalable manner. How do we do that? Well, we are beach inspectors, so we inspect beaches right on site. And we recruit beach inspectors, and we train them to our inspection standards. And our beach inspectors, they have been around the entire globe for us. To this very date, we have been to 2,000 beaches in over 40 holiday destinations. And each beach we go to, we capture in its entirety, from the ground and also from high up in the air. And our beach inspectors, they often spend days on the beach, taking photos, making videos, talking to locals, and documenting each and every aspect of the beach. The result of our work is rich media content for every beach, photos, videos, descriptions, and a data set of over 120 data points, all of which highly standardized and structured. So we take all this information and put it on beachinspector.com. And already today, organic users make up more than 60% of our total website reach. Our organic visibility has increased by more than 16 times over the last 12 months. And we have 1 million website visits a month. And this is only Germany. So we have 3 revenue channels. On the B2C side, we earn CPC revenues from our beach holiday meta search. What makes that meta search unique is that we are the only ones in the market to combine the hotel and the beach in one simple search. But we have also proven to be a sustainable marketing channel for DMOs, so countries, destinations, to attract new tourists. And we also offer a B2B API-based solution to the industry so that they can provide their users with an improved search for beach holidays. Our vision is to become the digital owner for beaches globally and to integrate all touristic providers that render services to beach holiday tourists. So summing up, there's a real consumer need. The market opportunity is massive, and we have actually found a way to benefit the entire tourism industry by what we are doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Anton. What does the jury have to say?
Anton, thank you very much for the time. One question I have is around your data that you claim is very proprietary. I mean, two questions. I mean, on Google, I can go to a particular place and see reviews that have been crowdsourced by users that they haven't had to pay for. So if we assume the beach inspector gets to a very, very large scale, it sounds like your approach of recruiting and paying inspectors to go manually and inspect beaches for you actually is going to scale the supply side very expensively. So can you talk about how you gain a data advantage on a way that is actually profitable for your business?
Yeah. Okay. So first, it is the foundation of a business model that we actually generate the content ourselves, because only if we do that, we can generate a content of that high level quality and also get standardized and structured data. User-generated content definitely plays a role for us as well, but it's rather a second layer than a first layer. With regards to the costs, it's not as costly as you would imagine, and we have actually found a way to scale that rather fast.
You seem to sit between special interest sites like those for surfing or diving on the one hand, and on the other hand, the more broader travel portals, TripAdvisor and co. So how do you see yourself positioned in that, especially if it comes down to search engine optimization and getting customers purely based on Google without spending millions and millions of marketing?
So we are basically addressing the mainstream beach holiday tourists. So this is not a niche per se. I've told you the number. It's a huge market. And we of course, also have information on water sports. But there is, as you said, more specialized players out there in the market. So we give the overall information on the beach that no one else can do. In that respect, SEO is, of course, one of our main traffic acquisition channels. And while we are highly reliant on Google here, but so is every other touristic player out there in the online business.
One more question?
So if you look at internationalization, you can look at it from a supply perspective, where you're already having lots of supply in foreign destinations. How about the demand side? Are you thinking about internationalization on the demand side as well?
Yes, and actually those two things come together. For us to enter a new market, we actually have to have the right set of beach inventory in place, right? In Europe, we cover already 70% of all touristically relevant beaches. And then we have to have the right language to address the market too. And in Europe, we can rather easily internationalize. We cannot just say we go to the US because we're still lacking the coverage in terms of beaches to do that, but that's already agenda for next year.
Thank you so much. Looking forward to talking more about that at another time. So thank you, Anton, and we're going to go to the next candidate.
Thank you.
To the jury? Yes? Hello? OK. So that was also the end of this category. So thank you to the jury. And we're going to move on to digital health.
Digital health segment is moving at rapid speed, and a lot of new players are entering the market with emerging technologies such as AR, bots, or virtual reality. Especially in Germany, the digital health environment is strongly regulated. At Pfizer, we foster collaboration with innovative partners. For instance, we support startups with our office space, our expertise, and our network. This is to eventually improve the quality of patients' lives and bring the best solutions to the market.
So, it's been a lot of pitches already, so 3 left. I hope you still have your energy up. Let me introduce our first jury member, Thomas Kleine, BT Country Lead, Germany, Austria, and Switzerland from Pfizer. Hi, Thomas.
Hello.
How has your morning been? Any highlights?
Oh yeah, definitely. So I have to admit that I'm a first-timer. So this is my first Hub conference at all. And there was one presentation, I think, that definitely blew me off my socks. This was the one presented by that professor from Amsterdam, who was talking about, I can hardly describe it, he was talking about how robots are actually born and recreate themselves and evolve their intelligence. And I thought, like, I probably understood only 50% of it. And the other 50% was making me think, okay, hopefully I'm dead and buried by the time this is reality. But seriously, it was very, very fascinating and impressive.
Great. Well, we're really happy to have you here for the first time on our jury.
My pleasure.
So thank you.
Thanks.
So our other jury members are David Meinertz, co-founder and CEO of Dr. Ed. Clara Leonard, Senior Associate, Digital Health Ventures. And Julia Hagen, Head of Health and Pharma, Bitkom. So welcome. As a reminder again, we're having 3 minutes of pitches per team, and then you'll have 3 minutes of questions. So let's go to our first candidate. So actually, almost all readmissions to hospital after heart failure or kidney disease are due to disbalance in body water levels. I did not know this before. And so our next candidate, Boca Health, is trying to tackle this with an easy solution that lets the client, the patient, actually take into his own hands his health condition. Please, a big round of applause for Alessandro Faragli, founder of Boca Health.
I always drink water before a speech. It helps me clear my throat, relieve the stress. Drinking water is such an easy automatic action. We do it when we are thirsty. However, there are some people in the world that need to carefully count every single bottle of water they drink. And if they don't do it, they may end up in the hospital. 10 years ago, my father was diagnosed with heart failure. And because of his disease, he started struggling with his body water imbalance. Drinking too much was meaning that water was accumulating in his lungs, impeding him to normally breathe. When he was not drinking enough, this was causing loss of consciousness. And the only sign were actually swollen legs, often a too late sign. So how do patients like my father manage their body water at home nowadays? They generally utilize the standard electronic weight scales, which are poorly accurate devices for detection of body water. And they call the physician in charge only when they experience symptoms. Symptoms mean that it's already too late. 1 out of 4 patients is being rehospitalized within 30 days nowadays. And the main problem is given by body water imbalances, causing a huge cost for the national healthcare system. We from Boca Health developed a smartphone application plus a portable device that are able to measure and keep track in an accurate way the hydration status of the patient. The patient is able to undergo the measurement at home, keep track of the hydration status, and share this information to the medical doctor in charge that can decide whether to change the dose of medication without hospitalizing the patient. We aim by doing so to reduce the readmission rates by 40% and reduce the hospitalization by an average of 2 days. Our users are not just heart failure patients, but also chronic kidney disease, which suffer from the same problem, and are actually much more nowadays. We aim to sell this device to hospitals that can utilize it for intra-hospital monitoring and for remote monitoring of these patients. These solutions are already getting reimbursed for both cases in most European countries, and Germany is one of them. A little bit about myself. I'm a medical doctor, researcher in cardiology at Charité University in Berlin, and I've been working in startups in 3 years, doing 1 successful exit. Now I'm the CEO of Boca Health, And together with our team, an amazing team, we actually brought this idea in 1 year to reality. We are getting advised by key opinion leaders in the field of cardiology and science, and we're getting supported by the Berlin Institute of Health. What we are doing, it's finishing up our device that will be ready for the validation test at the beginning of January. And then what we need is the next steps, 1 million to go to the market by finishing up our development phase. Boca Health needs your support to improve finally the quality of life of heart failure and kidney disease patients, because drinking water shouldn't worry anybody anymore. Thank you.
Thank you, Alessandro. Who wants to kick us off? Okay.
Hi there. Thank you for the presentation. That was excellent and very much on time. I'd like to know how much money you've already spent getting to the status you currently are at.
30,000.
And so how you're financing yourself at the moment?
So we won some grants at the beginning, some national European grants, and now we are actually getting support from the Berlin Institute of Health. And we are running, let's say, on this money until now. So what we are finishing up, it's the device until we actually have the money. And for the rest, of course, validation studies, CS certification, we are either partnering up with university that can help us in do that. Plus, we are looking definitely for an industrial partner, for example, that can help us in the production, industrial production.
I saw a number of colleagues on this chart. How do you can't pay them with 30,000 euros? How, do they work for free? Are they so passionate about the product that they don't charge, that they don't want any salaries?
You mean the one in so we are 5 co-founders?
Yeah.
And let's say, of course, we are having other people that we are hiring. So, for example, one of the developers is actually our CTO, is inside the company. So until now, as I said, we are running on the money that we have, and we will need the next to go forward.
Okay, and when do you need the money by?
As soon as possible. January, February, March.
Thank you.
Can you tell us more about the patient journey? How does the device end up in the patient's hand?
Yeah.
And how many times does a patient has to screen itself in a typical patient pathway?
So patients, depending on the type of patients, but let's talk about heart failure patients, let's say more acute, which are released outside of the hospital. They need to actually do a measurement once per day, at least in the first, let's say, more risky 30 days. However, the patient journey will be, the device will be given inside the hospital already, so the patient can adjust himself and learn how to do it. So it will be already given in the hospital, and then, let's say, given for the remote monitoring plan, that it can be either lent or just given to the patient for a longer term.
Well, just probably to add up on that, what are your experience with this kind of user group? I mean, the silver surfers, or maybe not that digital natives, in using these kind of technologies?
What we are learning in the clinics nowadays is that actually patients that are, let's say, above 65 years old are getting much, much more into digital, much more they're coming to you already having their apps, already having their devices, measuring, for example, blood pressure. We did many interviews and understood actually the potential, let's say, users are the ones that already have these devices, for example, for blood pressure monitoring. The idea is that anyway, of course, patients that are really old or like cannot really do it by themselves will have their caregivers that can actually do this. For example, our application is also for the caregivers, and they control it from distance what is going on.
Thank you. So yeah, thanks a lot. We're going to go to our next candidate. One more round of applause. Today, even though there's been so much research, we still know surprisingly little about our brains and how they work. However, it seems like there's some interesting new research and actual products emerging in this area. One of them, our next candidate, which has actually developed a device for real-time tracking of what happens in your brain in a non-invasive way. So let's hear it from Michael Tsekhanovsky, product manager at Sonovum. A round of applause, please.
Hello, my name is Michael Tsekhanovsky. I'm a product manager with Synovum, and I'm here to talk to you today about ACG technology and the future of brain monitoring. So examining the brain's been a difficult challenge. It normally requires huge and expensive equipment, which limits how many patients are able to have access to that. It also can expose them to invasive methods and harmful elements. So how big is this problem? It costs billions and affects millions of people. Sepsis, 18 million. Dementia, 47 million. Strokes, 15 million. Fatal strokes, over 1/3 of that 15 million. And traumatic brain injuries out of 10. I'd like to talk about sepsis a little bit, even though that's not a brain disease, that's a blood disease, but there's blood in the brain, so we can see it. Sepsis alone kills 16,000 children worldwide every day. It costs billions in Germany, has a very high mortality rate. It's undetectable by CT scans, and blood markers only occur 30 to 40% of the time. So that means you normally have a late diagnosis, so it normally gets worse before it gets better. Acoustocerebrography, ACG. Acousto meaning sound, cerebro meaning brain, and graphy meaning study. So we use sound to study your brain in a non-invasive, quick, cost-effective means, and we can do this constantly monitoring. So how exactly does it work? Just as a bat flies through the night, we emit sounds and we listen to the results. We also have clinical data where we have already collected results and know what the patterns are going to look like. We then use our patented self-learning algorithm to detect those patterns, match up the results, and diagnose the patient. As a business, we want to be around for a while so we can provide the solution to as many customers as possible. So the basis are device sales. Device sales make the basis of our revenue. We have software modules as we have more clinical studies to be a little more flexible, and disposables are always important in the medical industry. We also have multiple market segments. We just received our two-way medical certification, so we're able to sell to hospitals and doctors. We're looking to move into consumers, and with further certifications, we're looking to move into ICUs. We've got a stronger USP than the competition, and I believe a superior technology. Mathematicians, software, hardware developers, and business managers, we have a great team at Synovum. We've already won a lot of rewards and made our 2A certification, and we're ready to start entering into the market. That's ACG, technology, and Synovum.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Thomas, you want to kick us off?
Yeah, so thanks a lot for the very interesting presentation. I just quickly wanted to ask you if you could elaborate on your go-to-market approach. I didn't quite get that. So how do you actually plan to market the product?
We're just entering that stage now that we have our certification. We're going to be using more of a leasing model, so we're going to give them the products on a monthly charge. We're looking at about $600 per month, and then charge them disposables. And of course, that's how many ever customers they have. We're looking about maybe 25 euro on average per month. More customers, of course, will be more expensive.
All right, thank you.
I'd like to understand better the results that the device actually gives us, the solution.
Absolutely.
Is it a diagnostic or is it a visualization of brain activity? Where do you position yourself?
The device does provide some visualization of the frequencies and the results, but it does give out more of a diagnostic answer. The clinical trials that we've already begun, sepsis, for example, sepsis is a very tricky disease. It's more of a yes-no. Now, sepsis has a SOFA score, and we don't do the scoring. You either have sepsis or we don't. So it's more of a yes-no on that kind of thing. As clinical trials continue and progress, we're in the middle of a lot of large clinical trials. We might see better data and be able to provide more of a scaling result.
Mm-hmm. I have a question concerning the consumer segment that you mentioned. So I saw the product is not going to be a medical device.
Correct.
But what is it going to tell then? And is it really not a medical device?
That is my area, actually, as a product manager, so I know it well. We can do quasi, like stroke identification or detection, where it's questionable on whether it's a medical device or not, and I think that's a gray area. But the device is capable of measuring many other things, such as stress level and hydration as well. So we might enter into one of those markets for maybe the healthy lifestyles.
One more question?
What kind of product or service will you be replacing?
I don't believe we'll replace any, to be honest. Some of the studies have shown that we're at least equivalent, if not better, to a 1.2 or 1.5 Tesla MRI device. But I think our real advantage is in triage, where we identify what disease is happening. Do you have a stroke or a headache? Do you need just some ibuprofen, or do you need to get to an MRI now? That'll free up some of the resources at the MRI, and then we also have that constant monitoring. So we'll be able to constantly monitor the patient, see if they get worse or better. Some things that just aren't capable with like a CT or an MRI. You have to keep going back every few hours and wait on the diagnosis.
Thank you so much, Michael.
Thank you very much.
One more big round of applause, please.
Thank you.
So we're up to our last candidate. And for that, I would like you all to please, for a moment, close your eyes and take a very deep breath. Okay, let's do it together. Breathe in, breathe out, and let's do it again. Breathe in, breathe out. So our next candidate knows how valuable our breath is. And we all know that. It's precious. They want to enable more people to monitor and keep a healthy breath and lung activity. So please, let's hear more from them directly. Roman Wydra, the VP of Sales and Biz Dev at MySpiro.
So hello everybody, I'm Roman. I'm representing a Polish startup Health Hub, and I'm gonna talk about spirometer, mobile spirometer. Our journey started 3 years ago when two co-founders met. One is physician, the second one is designer, and they decided to build a device that will revolutionize healthcare and will tackle a problem. And the problem we are addressing with MySpiro is the problem of lung disease, namely asthma and COPD, which stand for chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. And the problem is very widespread, actually, because more than 500 million people globally suffer from these diseases. And 50% of those people are not diagnosed, which leads to health problems. Did you know that COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, is the #4 leading death, and it's predicted to be the #3 just in 3 years from now? And the problem, one of the problems is that the spirometry, which is the basic measurement, is not widely available today. And with MySpiro, we are going to challenge this. We are joining this digital health revolution. And so this is what it looks like. It's very small, handheld, connected, and it does a lot of good things. First of all, it delivers full spirometry, like a desktop spirometer. It measures your heart rate, and it measures basic environmental conditions. We have an application dedicated to MySpiro. One is for patients, the other one is for physicians. It allows you to measure the lung function, store the data, track the data, exchange the data in between the two. And the physician can also access your data in the cloud through a dedicated portal. But not only do we think that functionality is the key, it is, but we also pay attention to the design. And we have developed MySpiro with attention to every detail, from packaging to the final products. If you by chance think that there is a resemblance to any company, I just can say it's just full incidental. Things just happen to be similar. We do not stop here. We are developing a system. We are building an additional device which will measure pollution. And we combine the data from MySpiro, from this device, and from the drug delivery. And we are building algorithms that 2 or 3 days before worsening, we will be able to warn the patient that something wrong is happening and that he should take measures to prevent exacerbations. We have competition, of course, but with all the features we have, we really stand alone, and we are sure that we are going to win the market. And the credit goes to our team. Except for the founders, we have 10 other people, bright, young, engineers, mathematicians, clinicians, and myself, I'm responsible for sales. I'm bringing my Spyro to patients, physicians, and pharma companies. And I do not hesitate. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Roman. So, our last round of questions.
Yeah, so apologies, I might not be too creative with my questions, but same question as basically before. I didn't get how you actually plan to market the products. Is it that you can, buy it in the pharmacies or through HCP? So what's the model really?
Thank you for the question. We have a long and short-term strategy. Short-term strategy, we want to enter with a cooperation with a big pharma company, for example, like Pfizer or some other companies, who may use my Spyro as add-on device to drugs to increase compliance and to optimize treatment, and also in clinical trials. But in the longer term, we are creating a web-based shop that everybody can buy my Spyro from us. And we are building a network of distributors to have a global access. That's the long-term vision of us.
It might be a bit of a naive question, but why do patients need to measure their lung function? I think, if I think of diabetes, there is a direct action item. I measure my blood glucose because I need to know how much insulin I need to inject myself. In that specific case, is it only to show the data to the doctor at the next consultation, or is there an actual actionable item for the patient?
Yeah, there is an actionable item. The clinical study shows that if you measure your lung functions and combine it with your symptoms 2 or 3 days before you have exacerbations, you know already. Okay, thanks to regular measurement, you can prevent the disease worsening. You can prevent hospitalizations and even death from time to time. Yeah. So there is a meaning in this.
It's like stepping on a scale to make sure you don't get too fat.
Yes, that's right. Thank you.
I would be interested, why are you choosing, so you said the long-term strategy is the consumer, and something that I experience a lot when we talk to health startups at Bitkom is that they say actually getting people to pay for services themselves is really hard, because they actually usually are reimbursed by the health insurances. So do you think that's different in your case?
Okay, the question was why we first why we think about patients late, yes?
Why is the long-term goal
the
individual patient?
So the reason is pretty simple. We don't have money right now to access, let's say, global patients, to advertise, to build everything. So we think of it on the longer term, because first we want to get traction to sell some my Spyro units, to have more data, and in the longer term access, let's say, the universe of patients. That's the simple reason for that.
We have one more burning question.
How far is the product development? Do you have any patients currently using your device? What's the feedback? How do you iterate on that?
We have actually 2 sources of feedback. One is the beta testing that we have just started, and the other one, we are running a study in Poland on 80 patients. And the reason, the idea is to check whether my Spyro unsupervised, without a physician, can actually deliver the results. Those patients are using, we have access, 20 patients are already enrolled, and they do measurements every day, and we see they do it correctly, and the data are coming very positive for us. So we are very much excited about this.
Thank you so much, Roman.
Thank you.
And thank you to the jury. It's okay. So thank you. This was our 3rd category. So you need to go convene now to decide who's going to win. And so while the jury convenes, we actually have a little surprise pitch for you. So one last one. And actually, it's because so the Innovators Pitch has always liked to sort of look outside of its regular scope once in a while. And there's one specific applicant that sort of caught their attention that they felt would be nice to give the stage to exceptionally. So I'll let you fully be surprised, and I'd like to introduce Alexander Klem and Nikolaus Bitsugias from Social B&B. Please give them a big round of applause.
Hello, my name is Alex and this is Nico, and we proudly present you today Social B&B, an innovative and social homestay platform. During the last year, we identified 2 huge problems. On the one hand, there are many NGOs in the world depending on donations. For example, in Southeast Asia, more than 900 NGOs are working for a better life, but the most of them are chronically underfinanced. And this puts their so much needed help projects at risk. On the other hand, there are many travelers looking for local yet sustainable travel opportunity, with many platforms being totally flooded by commercial providers and a lack of transparency. They have a problem of seeing where their money goes to. So our solution to that is Social BNB, an innovative platform which connects travelers with NGOs. And this is how it works. A NGO puts their free rooms on our website, and which they want to give away as a homestay. We, on their homepage profile, they can launch a crowdfunding system, and they set up a crowdfunding goal. After that, the traveler can see where they want to travel to and see what impact their money will have. We take 10% as commission from the booking price, and the rest covers the homestay, and the rest flows directly to the health projects. Transparency is very important to us. This is why after a crowdfunding goal is achieved, every traveler who took part at the project receives a thank you letter.
The market is huge. There are 2.4 billion trips worldwide every year. We analyzed that 10% of the budget and online market will be interested in the social component. So we have a share of market of 67 million. So we see us as an affordable, local, transparent and social alternative to already existing providers. What makes us special is our combination of crowdfunding and the social platform. So we set up a prototype in Cambodia where we already welcomed 25 guests in just 4 months. With the journey in Cambodia, we acquired 10 NGOs and make many partners. We launched our MVP with 5 already existing NGOs with 32 social homestays. So, our vision becoming the biggest social homestay platform in the world. So, visit us on socialbnb.org. Stay local, stay fair.
Thank you so much to the two of you. I really love your idea. And so actually, we have a little surprise for you as well. There was actually someone from the jury who really wanted to meet you. Alexander Schwarz from Airbnb.
Thanks very much.
Right.
Thank you guys for that very inspiring pitch. The jury and Airbnb thought it would be a great idea to hand over a special prize, because we think it's creating a win-win situation for NGOs that are in need to raise money, and on the other hand, connecting travelers to really meaningful travel. And that's a really brilliant idea, so best of luck. This is just a small part from the jury and ourselves, so best of luck to you.
Thank you so much.
Congrats. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Congratulations. So, we have winners. Now it's time for the award ceremony. So we're going to go one category after the next and have our jury members announce. So let's start with Internet of Things. Ignaz Schatz, please come to the stage, as well as the 3 finalists. Let's see where they are. Evertracker, Blick, Xane, where are you? Evertracker, great. We already have one. We're missing 2 more. Okay, great. We have Ignaz. Thank you. Come on over here. So I'm still missing 2 more finalists on stage. I don't know where they are. Can anyone tell me? Maybe that just means this was an automatic self-selection? No. OK, now they're here. Thanks so much. So, Ignaz, I don't know anything, so please tell us.
Yes. So right after the pitches, we went backside, and it was a tough discussion, tough decision. We went through all 3 startups. All of you have a great, interesting value proposition. In the end, we decided for the startup that is already the furthest way along of having a solution that can be applied at a customer side. Therefore, we would like to give the first prize to Blick.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Prize yours. Great. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You also have something for the others.
Exactly. So there are no losers today. There are definitely 3 winners, and that's why we would like to give the 2 second prizes to Evertrack and Xine. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We're all going to get back on stage later for another big photo, so thanks a lot, and we're going to go to our next category.
Thank you.
So next up, we have the category of digital health. So I'm going to ask the 3 finalists, let's see if it works this time, the 3 finalists and our jury on stage, please, for Digital Health Award. Let's give them a round of applause. They might come then. Microphone. Okay. So, do we have everyone? And you have what we need to know. So,
yeah.
Tell us.
Yeah. Well, again, first of all, yeah, thank you. I'd like to thank all the finalists for your pitch. We had a tough decision to make, really. I think you all have very promising business models, business concepts that eventually also help to create really, true patient value. But we needed to make a call, so I keep this rather short. I mean, I think the next session really is at 3:30 champagne reception, so we have to hurry. So how do we make? Do we start with the winner? And yeah, is that okay? All right. So I mean, the winner takes it all. And as said, I make this short. Can you just take the small ones, please? Thank you. So the winner is Boca Health. So round of applause, please.
Woo! Yes, the 2 of you, I think.
All right, and then of course, again, I think, as I said, I think this is kind of the typical sentence that you say. You hear this also at the Oscars. They're all winners on stage. So again, a big round of applause for Sonovum and also for My Spiral, please.
Congratulations. Congrats. Congratulations. Thank you so much. We're all going to come back on stage later, so I'm going to dismiss you for now, and thanks a lot. So, our last category, travel and tourism. So once again, please all the finalists and the jury on stage, and let's give them a big round of applause so they come.
All right. So thanks very much to all of you 3 and all of your teams for these exciting pitches. All great ideas, obviously, but there can be only one winner. And as a jury, we decided that actually we believe in the area. This is Innovators Pitch, and there's one technology that is that will obviously revolutionize the way we interact in the future, which is AI. And so we're very happy to hand over a prize, and probably can you help me with the 2 upper ones? To Twyla, because of the enormous potential. You're connected to a lot of relevant partners and complex and powerful partners already. And there's obviously a lot of great stuff that you can do at the area of customer experience in cost savings, but also in terms of service levels that you can raise. So all of the best luck to you as well, to everyone else on the panel, which is over here. Thanks very much, gentlemen.
And quick photo. Come together for a quick photo.
Oh. Here?
Yeah, just.
Up.
Up. Great. Thank you so much. You can actually stay here now, because now we're going to ask for everyone else to come on stage to say a big thank you to all the partners, all the finalists, to the band, and to all of you for being here. We're going to take a big photo all together. And there's also going to be a champagne reception out here and on the right for those who want to celebrate together.